Tune into the podcast, killing everybody, taking dog tags. Dog, this is awesome. It's Optimus Prime and your quadrant and talking to you. Got that? I was in a mind when I crafted this. The Dungeon Master's wrath with a dash of sick. I dash like Sonic Mad, not a pacifist, but pacifist the tracks when I'm rapping, kids. We the last of us, the master race. Take him with a master hand, it's cancerous. I hit him with the master sword, and sure I make a nice sword, but I wonder how four guys make a Triforce.
Hey guys, welcome to the Trinity Force podcast. My name is Adam Ponophobia Kog'maw, and I have made it to host another podcast for this wonderful evening that is Monday after this giant shit asshole of a day.
Yeah, it was touch and go for a minute there, wasn't there?
It's wonderful because I was having like a panic attack because I couldn't get OBS to work the right way, and then it wouldn't.
Oh, and you reached out to me for help? That would have been. I don't know anything.
I reached out to you so I could experiment and make sure that all the settings were still working before I broke. Like I just turned the camera on, curled up into a ball, and cried on the stream.
That was very responsible of you. That was like 40 minutes early too. So good job.
I know.
Well, and then Adam's like, "All right, I'll be there."
Excuse me
Thank
for
God.
having...
And you breathed a sigh of relief.
Yeah, he did. He's like, he used the word goats. He's
God.
like, I couldn't for the life of my goat take care of this.
Couldn't do it.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to jump right into news and make this happy and quick. You guys can check us out on Twitter at twitter.com/TForcePodcast. DeClaude and I take care of that Twitter account. Lots of puns, lots of anti-puns, lots of hate, lots of love.
I keep the puns off the Twitter account for you if I can, but I will log into it and favorite one of my puns maybe.
Keywords being if I can.
Facebook.com/TForcePodcast. Sorry if you're on Facebook. I don't really post there that much, but you can still go like us if you like. I just forget to do it because it's not set up in TweetDeck like Twitter is, and it's just not as easy to get to because it's hard to switch back and forth. It takes like 3 clicks. Guys, don't forget to go check out our brother and sister podcast, the T-Force LCS Rundown. Now has 5 members on them. We just are, among them. Daniel Dracos has joined them. LOL Seppa. He is now an official member of that podcast. So 5 of those guys every Sunday night at 8 o'clock. We'll be going live on this channel. That is stream.trinityforcepodcast.com. Or you can check out Carrot Colossus and his crew of ragtag blokes down in the down under in Australia. They don't go live yet, but they do release just about every Thursday. They release at least once a week. And they are your Oceanic Leaguelets podcast.
They're our mates.
They are our mates. So, and guys, don't forget to check out Battle Arena. We have 4 different ways you guys can join Battle Arena. 1, regular Battle Arena, Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, casted by Asterishan and Honey Badger, or excuse me, Badger Senpai. I know. That is, you guys...
Now it's VG Badgers.
The Badger guy.
Yeah, the Badger. There's Bronze Boot Camp, which is Saturdays at noon until 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. That is casted by Haberdashing and Badger. That's your bronze-only Battle Arena. You have Oceanic Battle Arena, which is 7 p.m. AWST on Thursdays, casted by Carrot Colossus and Badger. And then there's the EU West Battle Arena at 7 p.m. CEST on Tuesdays, casted by Badger and Luke. We are working to grab a different caster than Badger, so at least has 1 day off for that EU West Battle Arena. I'm talking to somebody
He's a busy man
right now.
Yeah, busy Badger.
So if you are an EU West...
He's screwed when he goes back to school.
I know.
He's going to have to
Poor
quit.
guy.
He's going to have to drop out of school.
Yeah, guys...
Battle Arena full time.
Check that out. In-game chat channel T-Force. We are at 200 people right now. I'm probably going to log in later and not be able to get in because I had to get out of it to do this podcast. You guys, yeah, just join the in-game chat channel in any of your regions. It's T-Force. That's the name of it. Other than that, guys, I guess Victorious Gaming, real quick, they just started an EU West Battle Arena this last Saturday, and they said it's kind of a bit of a flop because not many people knew about it. So if you are an EU West and you want to try the Victorious Gaming Tournament, I called it Battle Arena, but if you want to try the Victorious Gaming Tournament, go to victoriousgaming.com, sign up for it. You guys can win up to 3,200 in RP and a Victorious Rise skin for your time. So that is that. We're going to move on quickly to donations. So Zach B., who hosts the second Battle Arena on Tuesday nights, has donated $5. So thank you very much, Zach.
Thank you, Zach.
Francis Screen, I feel like I typed his last name in there wrong, but Francis has donated $30. So thank you very much, Francis, for supporting the podcast.
Thank you, sir.
Awesome, thanks.
Thank you very much.
DeClaude bitched and moaned at me on Friday, or no, Thursday, for a new microphone stand. So I bought him a new microphone stand.
Give me an arm. Damn it.
My
wife about threw this one out, so.
No, he wants an actual arm. Like, he clip to the desk, and so he can like move it, or like a real, like a radio.
You
just can tuck it out of the way when I'm done.
That's not what I got. I thought
you have a
that's what
tripod, right?
No, I have a mic stand and then an arm attached to it.
See?
You have a tripod.
No, I have a mic stand and an arm.
Is this what yours looks like?
Yeah, that's not an arm.
No, that's a tripod.
Oh, that's okay. So I have a tripod.
I mean, like the one that, like, you know.
He wants one like the official radio broadcasters that, like they can hang the microphone upside down in front of their face.
And then you just tuck it away right behind the computer when you're done.
Oh, that's
Don't have to move it to vacuum. And
why haven't I been complaining for something like that?
I know, right?
Because you're not vocal enough.
Oh.
Oh. Yeah. So thank you, Francis Green and Zach B, for my microphone arm.
You're fresh out of goats. He needs an arm because he doesn't have a claw. I don't know.
Oh, nice. I like Yeah, right. Why are you giving the declawed guy an arm? He doesn't need it.
All right.
Speaking of declawed, we'll leave it for the LCS rundown.
Okay. Well, let's jump to the listener question. This is a mailbag episode. So here we go. Sizzlord writes in, if a jungler wants to take Baron when it first spawns, how could he do this? I know this takes a lot of practice. What champions would you recommend? Jax, Udyr, Nunu, or someone else? What items do I need to accomplish the task? Cheer Jaden.
All right, so basically, if you want to take Baron really early, you're going to want to play somebody like you mentioned. Nunu can do it. Master Yi, if you get a Blade of the Rune King. Jax can do it once you get a couple items, not necessarily exactly when it spawns because it takes him longer to ramp up. But any auto attack heavy champion, especially if you can get a couple kills early and get like an early Blade of the Rune King to do that percentage health damage, or you have somebody like, it was really common to see like a Rengar or a Master Yi mixed with a Heimerdinger solo or duo Baron as soon as Baron spawned at 15 minutes.
I don't think you're going to be able to solo Baron at 15 minutes unless you
won't
really fed.
You won't be soloing. You won't be soloing Baron. You might be able to duo. I would say you're more likely to trio it, but you're going to have to get really, really good at swapping Baron aggro and making sure that the enemy team doesn't show up and kill all three of you.
That's really the big one. I mean, they have one ward on there that you didn't catch, or they throw it down later, or they stroll by.
Right.
Because they're ganking top lane. And they're like, we're going to go up here.
And here's the kicker. It's a super, super, super risky play. It's one of those things that, like, yes, it can be huge early. It's great. But is it really worth the risk where if one person happens to stroll by, see three of you on Baron, and he can kill all three of you by himself, picks up a triple kill, and if you got Baron that low, he might be able to finish Baron himself? Don't know if it's worth it.
It's only like at that stage of the game, it's really only medium reward at best.
Right.
It's not really that high of a reward.
It's like old Dragon when it was like 150 gold or 140 gold to start. It really wasn't worth your time to be out of lane to grab it.
Even then, you got to wonder, like, even now, you have to wonder if you can't burn it down quickly to try and two-man Dragon right when it spawns. Like, that's a lot of resources that you're committing to that one objective. You can get if you can commit 4 people to it, then yeah, quick burn it down, go back to lane and everything. Okay, that's a different story. You probably pushed enemies out, or you have a good reason for doing it.
At 15 minutes, you're probably, level 9, 10?
Depends on what lane you are.
But
that's after, like, you got a big advantage as well to be level 9, 10.
You could reasonably, I mean...
What's the death timer, too? At 15 minutes.
Oh, it's short.
It's very
short.
Whatever.
Even if you wipe mid and top, and then the two of you decide to go, and the
immediately
jungler,
to Baron.
You
like
go to Baron, they'll probably be spawned and able to get there if they suspect anything. So it's still risky.
And here's the thing.
That'd be the best way to do it, if you were going to do it.
If your mid laner or top laner go to help, and they're both out of lane for a while, it kind of looks sketchy.
Where are they at? I don't know if they would suspect that Baron, because no one suspects 15-minute Baron, but like you said, the jungler's going to be running back and forth between the two sides. Chances are he's going to see you, so it is risky.
Well,
maybe if you kill the jungler and mid and top, and all right, we can do this.
It got riskier too when tanking Baron, like whoever had aggro on Baron, and he spits on you, you're doing 50% damage to him in melee, because he you do less damage to him if he's focusing on you, and if you are that Master Yi or somebody like that, and you don't have somebody that can tank it for an amount of time to actually get the most out of the damage that you're doing. It got harder to tank Baron early and still do damage. So I would say there's even less champions in the game now that can solo Baron at any point in the game. Jack still being one of them. Master Yi, if he has enough items. Tryndamere maybe. Rengar maybe. But
Your boy
I
Olaf?
just... What?
Your boy Olaf?
I just think he take too much damage
That's-
like that during that time, and he's not tanky at that
That's
point.
the thing. Like, if you're going to build that much damage to do it, you're probably not going to be tanky enough to kill anybody.
15 minutes into the game?
Yeah, that ain't happening.
15 minutes in the game, you probably barely have a cutlass.
Yeah. That being
Stronger,
said,
he just gets the free shit from his ult.
from his passive and his
Yeah,
W
his
and all
ult
that stuff.
passive.
I don't think it's worth the risk to try and go for a 15-minute Baron unless you are absolutely just stomping the enemy team and you're running like a Heimerdinger who can drop a ton of turrets.
I don't really read this question as, you know, what jungler should I be playing so I can always take the earliest Baron ever. I think it's more of a, if I'm thinking about trying this, you know, in a game, who
Right.
should I do it with?
Yeah, yeah. And if you're right, you're on the right path with your list of junglers that would have the best chance. There are ones that have pretty much no shot.
Tryndamere.
So.
I would say Tryndamere or Udyr.
Tryndamere, Master Yi, anybody that is going to auto attack a lot and is probably going to get a Blade of the Rune King, I would say.
Don't try it with Pantheon.
Or
Don't.
Nunu.
No.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Like Nunu's great, and you might think he takes it really quick because he has smite consume.
Well-
but that's only good for securing. It's not necessarily good for.
Nunu can make it work, but he has to have somebody else tank it for a while so he can get the most out of his
That's when
consume
you
on it. But the CD on it's
swap
so
back and
long, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have any points in it by 15 minutes besides one.
Right. Unless you're just being silly and maxing it early.
Right. So yeah,
Why?
I think the consensus is, don't try it. But if you want to try it, get super fed.
Yeah, get super fed and then potentially make a
Helpful.
mistake.
Really
that,
helpful.
What else can you
potentially
do?
make
though?
a mistake that kills your entire team.
You can't take it on a normal game where there's 5 kills thrown across the two teams. You're not going to take a 15-minute Baron. Now, if there's 5 kills on the Tryndamere out of the jungle who has a Blade of the Ruin King in 15 minutes, yeah, you might be able to do it.
Or say their top laner even warded a little farther down the river rather than in the river bush, and they just happen to see you going to the Baron pit. Have fun trying to take Baron when 3 people collapse on you.
Right. All right, well, let's go ahead and go on to the next question then. So, Yeezus Bound writes, what else can I do to convince my team to leave that extra tower and Hib or other objective alone so we don't have to give up an objective of our own? Is this about a split push or?
No, it's overstaying your welcome. That's
Oh.
what it's about. And there's not a lot you can do. You can ping back, but if they don't listen to your ping, it's not going to happen. And it's a hard judgment call to make. We screwed up, even just this last weekend in a game overstaying our welcome.
Pros do that. What was that game a couple weeks ago with the base race where Alliance should not have won, but they won?
Oh, you mean well, there was an NA base race too that week, wasn't there, with like EG and Inox was on.
But I mean,
Jax.
they were losing at 20 minutes, then at 22 minutes they won the game because
Oh, yeah.
that was Alliance.
Yeah.
And
That was nuts.
Yeah. But anyway,
The
their
dirtiest
ADC
Alliance
stayed
win.
pushing while everyone else in Alliance was pushing mid, and they figured they would base race against them, and that was the wrong decision. They overstayed just like this question said. So even the pros make this mistake. So it's a risk-reward thing. You got to look at it and go, is it worth the risk?
It all comes down to familiarity with the game and you have to make that mistake once or twice to understand how far you have to go. You also have to be looking at death timers. Like, that's a big one. A lot of people, even myself included, will forget to look at death timers later as the day goes on and the more games I play. Because if they die and you've taken that first tower, but they're spawning in the next 15 seconds, you might not be able to get that next tower because they're going to get reinforcements there. Same thing with especially, and as you go further into the base, it's a less of a distance that they have to cover to get to you.
And one thing that you got to keep in mind is, A, they're coming back with full life, whereas you won't have full life and resources. B, they will have just spent their money. And a lot of team fights happen, when players are sitting on considerable income. So even if you just won the last team fight and, they're coming back with an advantage over you at that point, or at least
That's
an
a good
even
point.
playing
You don't
field.
even think about
And yeah, I mean, like, that's really
gonna
the
get a
reason
little
why it's
boost.
such a big deal. It's rare for your team to be so far ahead that you can just overcome both the resources deficit that you're facing and like the new item bump that they just got.
And if you're the carry and you're there trying to finish that inhibitor before their first guy spawns back and can contest you, can run back with home guards, whatever. Focus the inhibitor. Don't sit. I don't know. You'll see this sometimes at pretty much any elo. They might sit there trying to clear a wave, or let's say they got their support there trying to defend, and you just chase him around a little bit instead of hitting the inhibitor. Just everyone on the inhibitor or turret, and then get the hell out.
No end when people more people commit to the chasing than that are hitting the inhibitor or turret.
Yeah.
It's like, if you really think about it, it's a terrible strategic decision to try and take that extra little bit. Because if you're taking that objective, you realistically just won the last team fight. Whether or not you should have is irrelevant. You won the last team fight, and then you took an objective for it. Just get out, because you have either even the playing field or taken a step in front of your opponent at this point, and both are places you want to be, given the scope of the game. If the playing field is now even, that means you have a much greater chance of winning the next team fight if you were able to win from behind in the first place. But greed's a thing.
Greed is good.
Well, and also, there is a strategy. Let's say it's an inhibitor, and you want to contest Baron. If you can pop that inhibitor down, then you got the pressure in that lane, and you got a better chance of forcing a Baron or baiting them into a Baron, and then they got to worry about the supers. So,
if you get the inhibitor down, but then they kill 3 of your 5 teammates, you're not going to
Baron anyway.
They can go do Baron
before
anyway.
Your super minions get there. Yeah. So exactly. So you got to take a look at the big picture.
I mean, more often than not, it's actually just too much risk to try and take that extra objective. But I'm as guilty as anybody else, thinking, okay, we can squeak this out, and then we got to back like a motherfucker, and it doesn't happen.
I think you have to also consider what point of the game it is, and what can they get while you're backing and spending that 45 seconds running back out to the playing field. So you took that extra inner tower, but did you just give up a Baron or start a ill-advised Baron fight where the rest of your team can't make it in time because you're filtering in one by one? Did everybody just spawn and run over to Baron while you are taking that bottom inhibitor?
Or if you get that bottom inhibitor, but you're all really hurt, you do make it out of there. Now you have to back. They can rush the Baron before you can back, heal up, and get to Baron to contest it. Mm-hmm. So you just got to make sure you see what's going on.
I mean, as far as communicating this to your team, there's not a lot you can do aside from using the back ping and pulling off the objective. If your team doesn't go with you, they're going to say you're the reason they didn't get that, and you're the reason that they died. And that is that's the reality of it. So, I mean, in that situation, I don't know. In that situation, is it better to just go down with the ship? If you ping back, nobody pulls off. If you pull back, you're still the asshole.
You said it before with the shot calling. It's better that everybody follows the bad choice than everybody does their own thing.
That's true. Yeah,
so at least you're all together.
It's better to fail as a team.
Get a little bit on you. So yeah.
If you're playing solo queue, you just have to figure out what you are playing. If you're playing a support, you probably just want to stay there and go down with the ship. But if you're playing a jungler, get the hell out of that. Get the hell out of dodge. Be ready to try to steal that Baron or whatever it may be.
Junglers, top laners, and marksmen can really signal the rest of the team just by pulling. If the marksman leaves an objective like that, everybody should just get out, because your damage for the next team fight is gone. You're not going to deal considerable damage to the objective, so just get out of there. But a support and a mid laner, unless you're Zed or Talon or something with serious AD and or attack speed, I mean, you guys aren't going to be doing a lot to that objective.
Right. Hang with your team and keep spamming that back until everyone decides to listen to you or not.
Mm-hmm. There we go. Hope you enjoyed that answer. So Play with Death writes in, should I focus on getting better at support until I'm higher MMR? Or should I focus exclusively on counter jungling? Or can you recommend some junglers that go, hey, I'm better, so if they chicken out, I'm not completely screwed? So it's like a double question in one.
Yeah, it's
not Pantheon.
Yeah, I guess basically he wants to know what should he do, what should he focus on. Should he focus on learning the jungle better and start counter jungling now? Because I would assume he feels that his normal jungling route is fairly secure. Or should he start working on support and learning another role?
I mean, by and large, support and jungle are going to be the easiest roles for you to get.
Now, is he saying that he's comfortable with the regular jungle route and now he wants to branch out? If we're assuming that, then I would say then work on the counter jungling. Get the whole picture for the jungle role.
I would actually say instead of going for a counter jungling thing, learn how to counter gank, because in my opinion that's more important for snowballing your team, especially in a solo queue kind of setting.
You got to be in the right place at the right time for that.
Right.
So.
You need to kind of
learn to time the enemy jungler.
Yeah.
You need that spider sense.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's the game sense, as my friends I've been playing with forever call it. Have that feeling that I should be here at a certain time. They're playing so-and-so. They had to start blue. That means they're taking red second. They're either going to gank top or mid. You have LeBlanc mid, so they're not going to gank mid. They're going to gank top, and you just meet the enemy jungler there, and you collapse on him 2v1 and shit all over him.
You know what? You call it a spider sense, but there are little clues you pick up on. Where does the mid jungler come from? Or the mid laner come from if he was helping the jungler at least from the very beginning?
The worst is
little
when
things like that.
The worst is when your opponent jungler like does something unexpected. Just if you're playing any lane, you expect the jungler to be at a certain place at a certain time, so you think you're safe, and then the opponent jungler shows up, you're like, fuck.
Yep.
Fuck.
Like, what the hell were they doing there?
What? That's not supposed to happen.
He would be there.
Just ruins your day. The only thing I can really add here is it's much easier to decide the outcome of a game in the early goings as a jungler than it is as a support. So if
I'd agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're just trying to grind your way up the top, jungle is a great way to do it. If you have the game sense, you know all the paths and everything. You know how to throw your opponents off by doing unexpected shit.
It's good for solo queue because you never know what you're going to get, who's going to be good where. You can kind of judge it based on the beginning of the game, the laning phase, by the time you hit level 4 when you hit your full clear. And then think, okay, who needs help? Where am I going to gank? Or who should I snowball?
Here's my opinion on this. Just because you can go in and counter jungle, if you have a jungler that can do it, doesn't mean that the enemy player is playing a jungler that is nearly not like necessarily going to be shut down if you counter jungle them. If it's somebody like, you know, Lee Sin, they're going to be ganking a lot early game anyway. So who cares if you just counter jungled 2 camps and he went and got him or his laners 3 kills? You know, it's one of those things. But no matter who you are, if you can plan for a counter gank and at least scare the enemy jungler off, that helps your team regardless. If their jungler is going to keep farming, great. You know, you can go and make a gank out of it. It's little things like that.
I think learning support is a very valuable position to learn in this game. So if you're already a jungler, like Dom said earlier, you're going to learn support fairly easily because you should already have a great macro sense of how this game is played.
Right.
And support has a larger macro sense than any of the other roles because they have to pay attention. Well, you know, in the same vein that jungler should pay attention where the ward's at, the support should also be that backup. The jungler was up here at top because when you're in bottom lane, yes, you're worrying about what's going on, but it's not always all in or engages or waiting for that one moment like you would in top lane because it's such a dance.
And to a degree, you just start to learn all of the cooldowns and when it's safe to go and check somewhere else, and when you have to be focused on your own lane. But being able to give all of that information to your team is really useful, and especially to the jungler.
And keep an eye on when the minions settle too. You don't want to leave your lane to your carry alone when, let's say, they just push the minions and there's a huge wave coming at him, and he has to kind of back off. Plus, you're going to miss out on a little XP that way too.
And you don't need to learn the full, gamut of support champions. At this point, you can really just pick up, Morgana and Nami, and you're probably fine for every single game.
You can play like me, play Blitzcrank,
True.
have God hands.
Yeah.
Problem with Morgana, though, is she's banned a lot now, so...
That's fine. So then pick up, Nami and Karma. Nami and Thresh. I mean, like, there's always going to be the flavor of the month, but as long as you know how to play 2 supports, you're going to be fine.
In solo queue, it doesn't really matter. The flavor of the month supports are great in solo queue, but they can be countered way easier than in 5s.
Yeah.
Because you're not, you're not one with your AD carry who you get to play with every single day and week or whatever it may be, what your practice schedule is. So in solo queue, that Leona Thresh lane may not be countered like you would think it would be. People think that Thresh counters Leona because you can flay Leona away. And while I do believe that, in solo queue it may not be the case because that person may not have that fast.
They have counter play.
It's a really difficult thing to do. Like, that's...
Like
yes, it is a counter.
It will counter at the highest level.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to do that.
So there's that, right?
Yep.
You know what else? You know what is not difficult to do though, guys? Anybody?
Eat granola.
Eat granola.
It's true.
Or
no, that is not difficult to do,
right
Adam.
now.
That's very obvious.
Or to go to bit.ly/T-Force granola using code TForceGG in all caps to get 10% off. You guys thought we forgot about Gatherer's Gourmet Granola this week. Look at that stuff. We didn't forget about this at all.
I actually brought a pouch to work today, and
Did you
it helped me get through.
Oh God, it's
Yeah,
the best at work.
it is. You know, in the afternoon,
Did you have Chipmunk's Choice and just like shove it in your cheeks? And
yes,
sit
I actually did have Chipmunk's Choice, but I didn't shove it in my cheeks. I offered it to my coworkers and everything too, as well. And my son got one of the pouches, one of the ones with dark chocolate, and he gave it to
so
his
good.
friend.
What the hell's the one? I like the
Love
peanut butter one. I can't even remember the name.
Chipmunk's Choice.
It's
Chipmunk's
That
Choice.
is.
That's the
Yeah.
peanut
All
butter
right,
one.
yeah, that's my favorite.
Yeah, so guys, if you haven't already checked it out,
Yeah.
go to bit.ly/T-Force Granola and go check out Gatherer's Gourmet Granola. These guys are a company out of New York. Sandro, he's a listener to the podcast, so if he decided, let me back up. He decided that he was going to take his family recipe and start to market it to people because he thought it was just so delicious. Like, he had great demand in his neighborhood and stuff when he was younger, and then he got out of college and decided, I'm going to start a business making granola.
And he's not wrong.
And he's not wrong. And he's got a really good taste, because that's the thing with this Gatherer's Granola. Like, you might go to Walmart or whatever and pick up like a normal pack and go, all right, well, this has some kind of taste. These guys don't sacrifice on taste. Like, that's what it's all about. It's about the best tasting ingredients that they can get. And when you taste this, like right here, bee's knees is honey, pistachio, and walnut. You taste every piece of that in this granola. Like, someone will say, you have honey. Well, it's just a flake of honey. Nope. It's just covered in honey.
That one was a pleasant
It's
surprise to
delicious.
me. I was not looking forward to those ingredients, and they work really well together. Tastes great.
Yep.
Oh,
And if any of you listeners out there make ammo, I'll talk about you.
we
I
do
go
not
through too much
support
of that.
ammo on this podcast.
I mean, if we could support it.
I don't have a problem.
what's
You have
wrong
your
with
right
supporting
to bear-
ammo?
You have your right to bear guns. You can have a gun. I'm a hunter myself. We're just not selling ammo on this podcast because I am not going to be linked to anything that goes wrong with ammo.
So we could say fuck shit, but we can't fuck shit up. Come on.
You can fuck shit up in game. So guys, go check
I
out
will
Gatherer's
say-
Gourmet Granola at bit.ly/T-Force
Give them
Granola.
grades.
the best.
Code TForceGG. You guys can also find that in 11 states in northeastern United States. Whole Foods, Jungle Gyms, Trader Joe's, whatever it may be, they sell it there. And when you get it, let us know how it is. Lancifer just said he has a sample pack to take on a long road trip and to let us know how it is. We know you will think it's delicious, so you don't have to tell us. So that is that for Gatherer's Granola. We're going to move this right into some more listener questions, I think. So let's
good to
go.
me.
Let's go.
Good
Fuck
night.
shit up in the world of listener questions.
All
Keegan
right.
writes, "Why does Kog'maw see such high win rate in Korea yet almost never seen in North America?"
This is an older question, isn't it? Yep.
I mean, I think it still kind of applies. Basically, it's because people are more inclined to do their jobs and peel instead of just try to murder the enemy.
I feel like it's
That's in solo queue. If we're talking about high level play,
it's got to be high level play. Do they really get to watch any kind of solo queue in Korea or play? Like, I'm gonna assume that he doesn't.
I don't know. You could have gone and looked at Lao King and
Sure.
pulled numbers from there or something. There are a lot of stat aggregate sites out there. You can find stuff if you want. Whoa, what's going on with this beer?
You put it down too fast.
I guess, yeah, that was almost messy.
I would say they're not.
I think Kog'Maw's pretty solid. We could just talk about Kog'Maw instead of the demographic of why Korea and NA, blah, 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 and just talk about why he should be played or shouldn't be.
In NA, it might be a case where he's just really vulnerable and they don't like how easy it is, like how screwed you are.
Escapes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
if
feel like
you
they know
catch
how to build
Kog'Maw.
teams in NA around Kog'Maw. We saw Wild Turtle play him, and I think NA tries to play too many 2 damage teams, and if one person gets caught, it's done. Like right now, the meta is more or less 3 supports, 2 damage dealers, while supports, might be bruisers or actual supports or junglers, whatever it may be. There's,
At the end of the day, they're
supporting type
supporting.
champs. Yeah, and that might work against the way the teams are, but I feel like that NA is that they don't have the correct team composition. They just don't have the compositions down yet. It's pretty much how I feel. Like, I don't know. I'm not on the LCS podcast. I don't really, pay attention to the other things. That'd be better questions for like Monte Cristo. But I like DeClaude's idea of going and talking about why Kog'Maw is strong right now and why he should probably be played.
And I think there's a point there behind he doesn't really have an escape mechanism. He can puke on the ground and slow you down a little bit, but then you're beating feet as fast as you can to get away and hoping they don't step out of your puke or gap close on you. Because once they do, not much you can do. So,
now, Adam, you've been pretty much on the Kog'Maw bandwagon since they redid his Q, right?
Yeah.
Turned it into a skill shot. I know we talked about it way back when, but I know you've gotten a lot more games with him since that time. Do you care to go into it at all or no?
Yeah, I like Kog'Maw right now. I feel like that Q has upped his game in the laning phase because you can actually go and harass early with him because you're reducing their armor and magic resist by, Dom, give me the numbers, 15% early, I think it is, up to 30 or 35?
20 to 28%, depending on rank, which is considerable.
Well, 20% early is considerable when he has percentage of life damage and doing magic with his W.
It's sort of considerable. 20% is a lot. They don't have a lot of armor and magic resistance for you to reduce. Until they hit 100, you're almost better off with flat. Which isn't to say the ability's bad. I'm just saying, don't get so hyped up about 20% resistance reduction in the early game because they don't have a lot of resistance for you to reduce.
Losing 8 magic resist in the early game when you're starting with none is pretty much like doing just a little bit less than true damage.
You're going from 30 to 24. Yeah, that's a big deal, but it's not. If you had a brutalizer, that's way more armor reduction going on that you're getting. I'm just trying to say the
gives you a lower armor amount. Flat will reduce you down.
I don't
to that
care to
true damage
argue
you're
that
looking for.
At all because I just have fun with it in lane. I feel like that added on top of it. I get your point. It's not as big as it is later on in the game when you can actually smack a tank with it when they're coming.
It's always better that way.
Actually, what I was gonna say is what makes the ability so good now is the 1,000 range it has instead of the 550,
the
600?
minuscule bullshit that it was.
It was
before.
like an auto attack range.
It was horrible.
Yeah, I mean now that you can poke somebody for getting out of position like that and use it to last hit if you really need to, but well,
it's nice because now at level 2 Kog'Maw can effectively trade if he lands one of those Qs on the person who's going in on him, even if it's a support. Before, you didn't have any kind of counter potential besides your W and maybe a slow on your E because everything was just so close range and the mana cost to drop an E is way too high compared to the Q and W cost.
Yep.
That and Q was such a wasted ability at the end of the game. It's great for all the passive attack speed, and you weren't going to use it in a team fight because if they were that close to you, you were dead.
Right, and you couldn't use it on Baron or Dragon either because you had to walk up so close after you already pressed your W to stand back far.
I mean, you get such awesome bonus range from W, and then you have your ult to finish him off. The Q was useless to you during a team fight. So I mean, frankly, he's good now because he has 3, he can use all of his abilities in a team fight instead of just 3 of them.
Right. And you can't, when you're building him, Triforce is like a must second buy item on this guy after boots and whatever first. It depends how you want to play him. If there's a lot of dive champions, go that Blade of the Ruin King for more percentage of life. It gives you that a little bit extra escape because that is a problem. If he gets dove on, he doesn't have an escape without flash or heal. But you can also build a eye edge very early on him and then go right into Trinity Force.
Go into Triforce because that's a relatively new thing on him. He used to be all about attack speed, and Blade of the Ruin King then was the obvious go-to choice.
It is because of the Q change that makes Triforce more advantageous to use because you'll get an extra proc off of Sheen, and that ends up being roughly the same amount of damage that you would do in a burst. Because 80 carries are, the 3 auto attack rule that the Trinity Force podcast is always talk about. You get 3 auto attacks off before you have to reposition yourself. So dropping down 3 auto attacks and having a Sheen proc in the middle of those significantly increases your damage.
No, for us it's you get 3 auto attacks before you die. Because we usually use that in reference to melee, like to fighter or a melee assassin.
Well, it's pretty much the same thing with 80 carries. It's 3 auto attacks before you have to reposition yourself, and then it's walking.
And the other nice part about Trinity Force is the move speed helps him position better for a champion that isn't going to be able. His normal positioning ability sucks.
And Phage is really good for him in that regard, as well as that. Whatever that enchant is.
With the move speed fur.
Yeah.
Right.
No, gives you the move speed increase. But yeah, it's all about repositioning yourself and getting those those Sheen procs off while you're doing it. And of course, Zio really helps him because he gets more attack speed to have more auto attacks to do more percentage of life damage. That's magic damage.
Right, while his W's running.
And then he has the Bio Arcane Barrage, which is his R, and you can shoot one of those while someone's running away and pop them with a Sheen proc.
Living Artillery R.
That's
Living Artillery.
Yep. Bio Arcane's is W.
Right. But
I get that mistake because it is a barrage, pretty much.
Yeah.
You're barraging them with your artillery.
Yeah.
He's going spew, spew, spew.
I will say though,
ADCs go pew pew pew.
The Blade of the Rune King changes to now it does more percentage health damage when he hits, couples even better with his W than it did prior patch. So yeah, he's getting less lifesteal, but now he's able to shred tanks even faster than he already was. So if he can get that T-Force, that IE, and that Blade of the Rune King, he's going to do about the same amount of damage to anybody that gets in his way, and that's going to be a lot of damage.
Oh, yeah. It is a bonus for him because the active was nerfed, but usually he's outside the range of it anyway.
Right.
He's just really fun to play, honestly. That's always been what I thought about Kog.
But he feels risky because you don't have just a quick oh shit button like a 90 caliber net or, you know,
I guess.
Lucian's dash.
So that's probably why he's not played as much.
Like,
people make that decision when picking.
I don't immediately I appreciate that concern. I fully acknowledge it's an issue. About. I mean, like to me, I'm sort of that's not the biggest thing I'm looking for in a marksman. I'm a shitty marksman, so it's not we're not really gonna put a lot of weight to my opinion here. But I don't know, he's fun to play.
Yeah, and don't pair him up with Maokai because there you're barfing up the wrong tree.
Damn it! I thought you were actually gonna make something worthwhile, and I thought that was a funny duo. And then you
shit on it.
You stole a laugh out of me. You stole a laugh out of me.
Yes,
I didn't think you were making a pun.
It's mine. All your laughter belong to me. All of the laugh.
If anything, I think Maokai being able to peel as well as he potentially is going to be able to peel in the future is going to be great with him.
He's going to be so good.
I love it.
You don't even know. You don't even know how good he's going to
do it.
All right, Volcano Techie writes in. When would you rush boots? When is it okay to delay your boot purchase? What should your mindset be in all roles? What should your mindset in all roles be when you think, okay, I've completed blank, I should buy boots? Now is the point in the game where I need to buy boots. What are some special cases you can think of? Then those are indeed a good example. Oh shoot, well, whatever. Well, he wants to know when do you buy your boots?
Super situational. It can also depend on the champion that you're playing. For example, a champion that's extremely mobile like Riven may not even be able to, like, you might not need boots on her till after you have a brutalizer, like 2 Doran's blades, whatever. Just because she has so much built-in mobility from her kit, the boots are kind of a moot point. That being said, you're playing like a champion like Tryndamere. The enemy they're slightly faster than you. As soon as they get out of your little chicken slow, you want to be slightly faster than them so you can hit them and then keep moving with them. It's really dependent on who you're playing, whether or not they got boots like early enough to offset your move speed. There are sometimes that buying another item is just better damage spike wise. If somebody's really aggressive and trying to trade with you and running away from them isn't going to matter, you might just try to out damage them.
Here's another thing to take into account. For example, a common practice when you're leaning against a Karthus is to start with boots or to get boots early because his Q has a little delay to it, and if you have boots, you kind of screw up his aim a lot. So you can know your enemy champions and know their abilities, and will that little extra boost help you dodge their harass and trade better?
Bottom is the same way. Can you reposition yourself more quickly than the enemy, or can you get out of the hairy situation more quickly to turn the gank around because you have boots? That's when you might want to buy tier 2 boots. A lot of this is based on what your enemy is doing and what you plan on doing in the game. Middle lane, you see some people go 1 Doran's into tier 2 boots right into sorcerer's shoes, and it's because they know that laning phase is going to be a little prolonged. They know they're going to get blue, or they don't have a problem CSing with you don't need to use their spells to CS necessarily, and now they want that extra magic pen to deal more damage to the enemy mid laner so they can harass rather than focus on CSing.
I probably overvalue movement speed as a statistic. I really like having as much of it as I can reasonably get. For all the reasons that we've listed. I'm a big fan of roaming, especially out of mid lane. It's harder to do as a support these days because there's so many damn wards, but even then I like to do it if possible. But yeah, everything we just said, movement speed is so great, and I really think it's an undervalued. Like, I don't think people put enough emphasis on it because tier 2 boots, that's a lot of easy stats to get alongside extra movement speed. Like, no matter what you're getting, that's so many easy stats to get, and people just sort of ignored in favor of the bigger damage item. You know, like, take top lane, for example. If you're fighting an AD whatever, like a Ninja Tabby early on, assuming it's
huge,
appropriate
yeah.
for the situation. That's huge, and a lot of people will skip that and try and wait out for the next damage item when the Ninja Tabby, in addition to the movement speed, is just going to reduce so much of that incoming damage that like it's gonna balance out that it's basically gonna balance out that item, and you're still gonna be closer to your like you're gonna be reasonably close to your next damage item anyway, because Ninja Tabby is cheap as hell.
Plus, you'll be able to stay in your lane a little bit longer because you're surviving the trades a little bit more. You're taking less damage, so you don't have to back as quickly.
You know what I've been buying a lot of recently are Boots of Swiftness on my
Oh, yeah.
laners and my junglers. I haven't been buying the Merc Treads nearly as often anymore as I have Boots of Swiftness because I feel like there are less people with stuns and CC that are playing this game right now, and more slows and movement and parrying effects.
Since the Moby nerfs, I've been kind of leaning towards the swiftness a little bit more.
People keep saying those are
For
the
junglers.
go-to support boots, and I'm just not a fan.
What,
By the
Moby?
time, yeah, I'm just like by the
Yeah.
time you're reasonably getting them, and for sure in solo queue, by the time you're reasonably getting them, if you're like gold or below, you're probably doing mostly team fights at that point, and your ability to run quickly from one spot to another isn't helping you nearly as much as damage reduction or
See, I
crowd control
disagree
reduction
with that
or
with support because not to discredit that the what you are building is bad by any means, because you know it does help and it has its scenarios why it's help, but I do feel like that there's so much movement and so lack of coordination and solo queue that if you can make it to the different points more quickly than the enemy team, that you could potentially have a larger impact on whatever happens. That's why I like
so
decent
this-
It's decent laning to run out, ward real quick, and then come back. You
for
know,
sure.
something
This
like that.
might
but-
be why I like so much movement speed out of my masteries
Right.
and runes.
As
Because
a
I put a lot more in there than I think a lot of people do, and it's because I don't like what I really don't like about Boots of Mobility is it's like it's stats you only get some of the time.
Right.
I hate having an item where when I get into a team fight,
Situational
these are
like that, yeah.
basically they're useless to me.
See,
That's what I
doesn't bother
hate
me.
about that item, and that will never stop bothering me.
That doesn't bother me on champions like Blitzcrank or Thresh, where I need to get in really quickly, and I'm not eating I'm not eating any kind of CC or AoE damage that's going to slow me down. If I can get in there quickly enough to land a hook or a pull or an E or whatever it may be, E from Leona, I'm thinking of, I might buy Boots of Mobility over another item because I feel like I need to be out front and be wherever it is on the map more quickly than.
Yeah.
than
I
myself.
appreciate that. I get why they're popular. I just don't like it.
Which is fine.
Usually, if I'm choosing if I want Mobies, I'm either deciding Mobies or Swiftness for the speed. Swiftness with Alacrity, because I like Alacrity. And unless I'm getting
Yeah,
Master, then I'm going home guards.
I kind of like Alacrity. I don't like admitting it.
Since
but
it was buffed. But it's so much more expensive to get the Swiftness boot. So sometimes it's at that point where I'm like, shit, I need to get back to lane. I really need to get these boots.
Swiftness were really
I have 450, grab the Mobies
No,
and
you
go.
are.
You know?
Sean, do you ever stop eating?
No, I can't help it.
What are you eating now?
Reese's Cup.
I just see this kid over here. Looks like he's eating dog food. Like he's
No,
just
nope.
shoveling stuff into his mouth.
Nope, I got Reese's Cups. Kayla actually went to the store, got a thing of milk, and brought me Reese's Cups because she loves me.
Nice. Did she pour you some of that milk to go with it? Wash it down?
I didn't need any. I'm
I
good.
thought you only drank tears of your victims. What's with the milk?
Fully stacked.
Beer.
Nice.
And
That'll do.
a beer mug.
That'll do, Sean.
Sorry to kill the
Discussion.
discussion, but I couldn't stop. It seriously looked like he was just shoveling in dog treats into his mouth.
Oh yeah, I love dog food. Great.
So yeah, I think Dom summed it up best. When you get that tier 2 boot, you get also the stats that go along with it that are really good for whatever, as long as you purchase the right one. And it's probably worth it to get pretty fast. Some champions they have free movement, so you can delay it a little bit, but get your damn boots.
I refuse to answer.
Boots of Swiftness are cheap now, man.
I love Boots of
I love
Swiftness
Boots
so
of
much.
Swiftness. I think they're fantastic and are very much undervalued.
675
Yeah.
is the
675. That's cheap.
purchase
Only,
price. Yeah.
Like Ninja Tabby's cheaper, but
I
Isn't
think
it?
they're my favorite top lane boots.
It's not as expensive as Merc Treads. Put it that way.
everything.
That's pretty much
I
the
mean,
only
Merc
one that's more
Treads-
expensive.
they're the most expensive for a reason. They're very, very good.
They are.
So I'm gonna go ahead and move us on to the next question. And first of all, I'm gonna apologize
Move us
to
on? Nice.
Charles
Well done.
R. Norris to say that I'm never answering this question, and we are never talking about Essence Reaver on this podcast again. So sorry that you wrote in asking about it, but it's never being discussed again.
Until you get more data.
Until he gets more data and he gets less butthurt about
No, I have
arguing.
plenty of data,
there he goes.
and I could 100% argue this, but we're not doing it. I already said no more. I said no Essence Reaper on this podcast.
It doesn't mean he loses the argument, just so we're
He just
clear. We don't want to
refuses
start it up.
to talk about it.
I am the host.
We're
and
just
I
gonna
do
not
what
talk
the hell
about
I
it.
want. Here's my problem that I have with Projo's comment. I feel like we've answered this question once times. He writes it and says, "What do I do if I'm 0-3 in lane? 0-3 in lane, and the phase is still going on. If I go back, I die. If I try to kill my opponent, I die. What do I do?" And I want to answer this question, but I think we've answered this like
we talked about it last week or the week before.
12, you know.
It's a shitty position to be in. I mean, you just got to figure out ways to contribute that are putting you at minimal amount of risk. This was me. This was me the other day, and I was playing against Zed. I mean, I just fed the shit out of lane because I got ganked once early on, and that was all Zed needed.
You apologize to your team and try not to die. Maybe go farm the jungle. Maybe try to roam and make something happen. And if that doesn't work, you put yourself further behind. But there's nothing.
I mean, to a degree, the last place you want to be is in that same lane as the guy who keeps killing you.
Right.
If you're useless, if you're completely useless, you feel like you serve no purpose on your team whatsoever. Not you. Go buy 3 wards and a pink. Don't buy a little piece of your component, and then go ward something. Help your team. Give vision, and then maybe you'll see when they're going to come turret dive you. Then you can kind of hang out by your turret, hug it real quick. Feel the nice cold stone of that turret, nice and safe. Suck your thumb, and maybe throw a long range ability if you have one at a minion to get a quick CS and some XP.
The area between the really fed guy on the enemy team and your next lane over, so that lane doesn't feed him even more.
and you're helping.
Right.
Yay.
Yeah, anybody
and get the hell out of laning phase as fast as you can.
Unfortunately, at this point, you're not going to 1-on-1 kill anybody, even the jungler. If you're 0-3, you're not killing anybody. You're not meeting the enemy jungler in the jungle and killing them. You're not killing top lane.
Odds are good. The jungler is part of the reason you're 0-3.
Yeah.
And please, 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 please don't cry for help. Wah, jungler, help me. They're ganking. Wah. Say, just go help the other lanes, because I know I'm useless right now. So everybody else, please kick ass. And then when everyone else is feeding, you're going to feel even worse, but
Take solace in the fact that every time that mid laner kills you, he or she is getting less money for it.
Yup.
There you go.
You just keep dying. Joke's on you. I'm not worth anything.
That minion was worth more than me, huh? You wasted your time.
All right, we'll move on to the next one then. Bryce writes, "What is the best way to learn new champions outside of bot games and losing a lot?" I don't know, Bryce. You tell me. Because it sounds like you hit the nail on the head to me right there.
Gotta play him. Just gotta play.
Yeah.
Play. You can look up guides. You can look up videos. You can do a lot of stuff to look up and try and understand how to play something. But until you're actually out there practicing and doing it, you're not gonna get nearly as much out of it.
Use Team Builder if you can wait 20 minutes, for a popular role. But use Team Builder if you can. That way you're getting that champion. And then you hop in the game and practice.
A lot of people like to sit down and do anything new and basically assume they're going to pick it up after just a few tries and be great at it.
Dom will tell you that it doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't work that way at all. You need to, you have to sit down, acknowledge what your actual deficiencies as a player are, and then work to start improving those and everything, because sooner or later you will actually understand what you need to be doing in the given role. You'll understand, if you're trying to specialize, you'll understand the dynamics of the lane. If you're trying to be just a good general player, you're going to understand the game on a better macro and micro level. You're not going to have the best mechanical skills across, on any specific role, but you'll be reasonably successful across all roles, and that is valuable.
There you go. That's that alone.
But the only way you're going to get the only way you're going to get there is by doing it. That's just the reality. You have to try, and you just have to keep playing. Don't go create a Smurf account. That's the worst thing you can do, because you're just going to play against worse players.
Right.
All right, I'm gonna answer this question and then go let the dog in because she's a little bitch.
Wow.
Well, she is.
She is.
Gorath writes, "How much importance should I place on buying wards outside of jungle?" It's God damn it, I want to be in here for this question. How much importance should I place on buying wards outside of the jungle and support role?
None.
Well, Gorath,
I hate you.
You should never listen not never. You should not listen to Claude. You should put the utmost importance on buying wards and every role. It doesn't matter what role you are in. The support's job is not to ward anymore.
It's everybody's job.
Everybody's job, yeah.
It's everybody. You know what? You are providing yourself, if you drop a ward, information. Thank you, Dom. You know what you're providing everybody else? Information. So what are you going to do with that information? I don't care and I don't know. Use it somehow to make yourself better at this game. So go buy a ward, drop it somewhere on the map, ping that you dropped it when you did, say here's a ward, it'll be done in 3 minutes, and then use that to your advantage. Every single person at the entire fucking game should be dropping wards.
Adam, drop the mic.
Yeah, drop the mic.
He calls his earbuds wards, by the way, and he just dropped them. So he practices what he preaches. So yeah. If this question's kind of strange, the way how much importance should I place on buying wards outside the jungle and support role?
No,
honestly,
I mean, I think there's a very common perception in this game that only the support should be warding. There are even a lot of junglers out there who think it's not my job to ward. It's the supports. Like Daze was telling me the other day that she ran that she's at plat level, and the jungler was telling her as the support she's the only one who's supposed to be buying wards, and that is just factually incorrect. I mean, the less you know about the opponent team, the greater chance they are going to surprise you and thus win the team fight.
I'm almost of the opinion that if you don't have a pink ward down, you need to buy one and place it immediately, just because
it's almost like your totem is off cooldown.
So
there is.
You have a pink ward that needs to be
awesome
down.
To put a pink ward in a spot that they walk by all the time and they don't kill it, and it's there forever, and you always know that they're there.
Like, yes, it's still alive at the 10-minute mark.
It kind of bothers me when it's alive a little bit, because I'll just assume that they killed it, and then like I'll die and buy a ward, and it's still alive, and I'm like, well,
and you can't place it.
I'm like, well, I
got it for when they do.
It was like that Trinity game we played the other day where I gave up first blood and then you ganked my lane and we killed the dude 1,000,000 times. That pink ward that I threw in the river bush stayed there for the entire length of the game.
Did it really?
and their jungler ran past it. Yasuo ran past it. Every time he went to go run past it, I'd go kick his ass. But it's just...
We saw him at the end of the game, and you teleported behind him and killed him.
Half of the reason I was able to do a lot of that stuff was because that ward was there. I knew he was going that way, and I knew I was way stronger than him, so I could just go pick him off, and then we could push 5v4. The wards are such a big deal. If anybody thinks that they shouldn't be warding, they're so bad it makes me cry.
There is nothing more frustrating than looking at the mini-map, seeing 4 wards on, and knowing that they're all yours. Like, as a support player, it's just like, I'm the only one doing anything for the team here. So, basically, that means if I screwed up in my ward placement for whatever reason, our team is screwed now. They could be in a section of the jungle that I couldn't cover because I can only place 4 wards.
There's only one thing sadder than that, and it's if you have the only 4 wards on the map and your teammates all have trinket wards and they haven't got rid of them for sweeper, but they still aren't placing it.
Most of them do. Everybody gets a free ward by and large, and they don't place it.
Wards are so important that I like how you brought up the sweeper. It's important to get rid of the enemy's wards as well. So
right.
I hate when no one else has a sweeper but me, and we're trying to prep for a Baron, and I swept what I could sweep.
I kind of like the marksman buying scrying orbs.
I forget the
for later. Now I like the scrying orb.
No, it's not good early, but
right. But also
mid game, it's better for the marksman.
Also, if you're either behind, and they control a lot of the map, and you just can't get the wards down, that scrying orb is great for all those face checks. Even if you just get close enough to throw a ward in the bush, they could dogpile and kill you. So that scrying orb can save your ass. It's great if you're losing the game and you're trying to come back. Just quickly take a look at these bushes before you move as a team somewhere. Could save you the game. So I like the idea of having at least one scrying orb in there as well.
Backing up to the sweeper, I am comically bad at finding wards with the sweeper. I search all the time. I get it. I buy the item. I look for wards all over the place in places that I would be putting them if I was the opponent team. I just never find anything. That's
a good strategy they're using. Put them in the wrong spots.
I guess.
Get swept.
I don't know what's going on, but I I think the most I've ever finished having found in a game is 3. Like, I'm
because
just
the enemy
comically
teams-
bad at finding these words.
The enemy team's as bad at wording as your team is.
I was gonna say the same thing. They forget to drop words too.
Most likely, yep.
I've been finding a lot as I've been playing. I played jungle this weekend when I didn't get to play, and I would sell my trinket ward after my first back and pick up a sweeper instead, because you only need that trinket ward early to protect your red buff or blue, whatever you go to second. I always drop it over the wall to make sure that person isn't there, and then I sell it later on for a sweeper because I find that I don't drop it anywhere. I forget to use it, or I forget to give a laner a ward. So I'd rather just de-ward and then go back and gank.
Makes sense. And then buy a green ward every now and then and see it burning a hole in your inventory, so you want to place it.
Yeah, I always try to, if I go back and I can purchase, like, my first back on a jungler, I've always tried to upgrade into not Madstone, whatever the hell the stone is called right now.
Spirit
Stone. I always try to upgrade it to Spirit Stone, one item, whatever I'm building Spirit Stone into, like one of the, like a long sword, dagger, whatever it is, and boots. Like, my first back, I always try to buy those 3 items, and then I go out there and keep farming. Then my next back is finish it, a ward, and then whatever else I can buy, and then next back depending on who I'm playing. So that's kind of my philosophy in playing jungle. And I think I've been getting better at jungle, but I'm still not good. But just, a little bit every time, getting a little bit better because I've been trying to pay more attention.
I mean, and to your credit, it's not like you're going out of your way to learn how to jungle. You've just been getting stuck
playing
with
it for fun.
Yeah, it's pretty much, and Skarner's super easy to jungle with right now.
He's so much fun too.
He's being banned a lot because of his stickiness.
He's so
And his
kind of frustrating.
dual
good.
potential is stupid.
That's
I'm sorry.
so
There's a reason they're called wards, because as you ward throughout the game, it's rewarding. It really is.
Woo!
Sums it up.
You'd clap for that
Sounds
one.
good? All right. Catchphrase
And that's
for
a wrap.
wards. It's a sale.
I think we will get to Bryce's
Ward
comment
motto.
next week. Let's go ahead and finish the podcast off with Sandro's comment. Sandro is the owner of Gatherer's Gourmet Granola, who he has actually wrote in a lot over the past year, so it's kind of funny to have another one from him. So
We've been
Sandro,
ignoring it.
yeah, every time. I always ignore him, just like I ignored Claude. When should you use attack move? How does attack move help with orb walking, kiting, and farming? Should I rebind my left mouse button to be attack move?
I am comically ill-equipped to answer this question.
Okay, so when should you use attack move? Almost all the time. You should be using attack move to be more precise in your movements as an AD carry. You don't necessarily have to do it as a top laner. It does help quite a bit, especially when you are orb walking. When you're orb walking, you have to use attack move. So now what attack move is, for those of you who don't know, is pressing A. Your cursor changes to a little circle. Then whenever you click on, you attack that, or if you click on near something, you attack the closest target to where your cursor targeted on the screen. So attack moving with orb walking is, you have to learn how to do that very quickly, because it's A, attack, right click, move, walk, A, attack, right click, A, attack, right click, move, walk, that type of thing. Like it's a very quick orb walking motion, and you can't just do that by right clicking moving, because it's faster to already have the A clicked than they continually click right click, because right click, left click, right click, left click, right click, left click.
The
Now,
other
change
big
it up
piece
though.
of
There is a pattern you'll create while you're practicing this, where an enemy like myself, I have played a lot of champions with skill shots. I'll watch. There's the attack move. Okay, he's moving that way. All right, he's moving that way. Oh, I know he's going to stop right now to attack that. Bam, land my skill shot. So pepper in an S to stop suddenly, and maybe hold still for a few attacks to throw people off with that. You don't want to make a pattern, which is you can do it.
I mean,
like S a lot.
Yeah,
even
use your S
just-
key to stop.
Just in general, it's good to move around a lot more. I see so many marksman players just try to last hit from one spot or only moving a little bit, and it's like, I'm going to hit you with every single skill shot I have if you stand still. Like, that's... Stop.
What Declan said, that's one of my funnest... in bottom lane, that's one of the most fun things to have happen, is smack somebody with a Q from Ezreal or whatever it may be when they're walking back and forth, because you're just like, all right, you're going to walk here.
Yep.
Yep. You've been doing this all game, so bam, hit the Q.
The other big piece of this too is if you attack move and you select an enemy champion to hit, rather than just right click them, if you accidentally miss them, attack move will still attack the closest thing to you and won't necessarily move you out of position closer to them. Whereas if you just right click and you accidentally miss, you might be running to your death on accident, or getting out of position, or running into a skill shot, or anything slight like that, they could potentially lose you the lane.
Yep. A little mistake like that.
I have a very bad habit of using shift right click, but I've made it work for myself, and I can orb walk very well with it. Instead of pressing the A, I do a weird combination of shift right click and attack move when I'm targeting somebody, because when I was first learning to orb walk, because nobody was telling me how to properly do it, I was using shift right click, and old habits die hard.
Yeah, and attack move into a bush, especially if you just use your upgraded sweeper, will attack that mushroom before you step on it.
Now, to speak
Hopefully.
of that, that's why you should not make your main left-click attack move, because sometimes you want to move into a bush and not attack somebody, especially like early game when you're just waiting for that person to get in there and you need to move behind somebody or you need to reposition yourself a little bit. If you have that on attack move, your left-click, you are going to accidentally attack somebody. So I don't like it. I feel like you can do more. Sometimes you just want to click on the enemy to see what they have as well while you're in lane. You're walking back and forth. You just want to click them with your left click to look at their items rather than pressing tab. There's just so many different ways you can use that A. And if you don't have precise targeting with your mouse movements, you're going to accidentally attack something you didn't want to.
It's a good point. It's better to learn how to do it the long way with all the right keys instead of binding everything together and then adapting your play for those situations where you don't want to use the combination you just bound to the key. So,
I mean, and just to cover like the basics of it, it's the type of thing where the more you do it, the easier it becomes. It's it's gonna feel really weird if you've been mostly right clicking on things to start using attack move. Once you're familiar with it, it's not a big deal. It's going to be like
so
second
much
nature.
better.
It's like smart casting. When
It's
everybody
exactly
learns how
right.
to play this game, they're pressing Q, and then clicking on the target. And once you switch over to smart casting, yeah, that's going to feel totally foreign to you at first. But the more you do it, the easier it becomes, and then you don't even know how you played the game before it.
think of the difference here. If you play Syndra or Karthus, Syndra, you got to hit Q and select where you're going. Karthus, you just hit Q where your mouse is. That's the difference between regular and smart casting. So it's so much easier as Karthus to hit his. But if you wanted to hold it back and go, oh, I didn't want to do that, you just did it. So it takes some practice getting used to.
That's why I've always said either use smart cast indicators or use your shift click to get your normal casting down. I find myself normal casting a lot more spells. I used to be a big proponent of only smart casting, but then as new champions started coming out, then you start doing this podcast, and you have to know the ranges of stupid abilities and understand how the abilities work. You have to
Play
realize
with all the
that.
champions.
I turn on range indicators. It's I find them really useful. I'm more often than not glad I have them.
That's why I've said it 100 times. I use the shift right click or shift click of my abilities to get the normal casting, and I've made it work.
I don't understand the appeal of not having the range indicators. It should be. I feel like it would be better.
I didn't use the range indicators because I didn't feel like I could get the abilities off as quickly as I wanted to because of the way that my hands hit the buttons. I tried them one time and my abilities weren't coming out, and I think it's the way I hold my buttons or click my buttons or whatever it may be.
Okay.
I can't explain it. It's just that's what it was.
To me,
I know
it
how to
makes
push
more
your buttons,
sense
Adam.
for the range indicators to be on by default, then you can turn them off if you don't want them there. For smart
Oh,
casting.
you mean why they're defaulted off?
Yeah, that's what I don't get.
Yeah.
See, crazed in chat says it slows down the time before you cast, and I think that was what it was. Like I would hit it and let go. Like I would hit it and expect the spell to come out right away. Because when you have when you have smart cast on, you hit and it comes out. But when you have indicators on, you hit it and have to let go. So it's a what's it called? Negative edge. That's what it is.
Oh, okay.
In fighting game community, negative edge is where you hold the button down, and when you let it go,
is when it
goes out.
rather than when you push down.
Right. So people will do combos by holding like heavy punch down, and then do the rest of the combo, and then let go of the heavy punch at the end to get it more quickly off. So that's
interesting.
It's a whole way to play fighting games, and that's kind of why I can't really do it.
That was a common thing in WoW too. You could actually download like an add-on that would work. So whenever you press the key, as soon as the key goes down, it would react rather than when the key comes up. Which
I wish I would have bought that. I wish I would have downloaded that.
I mean that's like such a slight thing, but that little slight thing can be the difference between killing somebody or not killing somebody, getting an ability off, or dying in some sort of CC.
Interesting.
It's just things that you want that have long cooldowns that you don't necessarily want really to cast. If you're not used to smart casting, you could throw out that ash arrow behind you, or the rumble ult over there where you didn't want it to go. So practice with it. It's going to take some time, but we got off orb walking pretty quickly.
Yeah, you'll find.
Wow.
You'll find this when you press the button, the ability goes out. So that's all it is. Like you might have already been trained yourself, so you press it really quickly. But if you don't train yourself to press it really quickly, you press Q and it just goes. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, what it really is there are times where I will hold the button down just to see what my range is.
That's what my Shift Q is for. Same
yeah,
thing. It's Shift
and I
Q
get it. I just sort of.
Yep.
So I don't know if it's a thing I'll notice or not, but
I think you would. I think it'll screw you up first game.
Like Adam said, you'll get used to it as you play.
Ton. I know I would notice it like from a negative standpoint. I don't know if I would notice my abilities becoming more accurate.
Oh, they might not. I mean, I don't think my abilities become more accurate if I started turning it on, because for the most part, I know ranged abilities. If I don't, I just hit Shift Q. But
cool, good question, son.
Yeah. Excuse me. I think that's it for this podcast because I need to find my cell phone. It's been an hour without it. I feel lost and alone.
Naked.
Yeah.
In the woods.
Oh, well.
God damn it.
With DeClaude hunting me down with his spear and his 9mm.
And
it's not a euphemism. I really do have a spear.
I know you do, pal. I keep looking up to the sky and waiting for the Pantheon to drop down, and then it's DeClaude as he lands on my head.
High five and Earth.
You would actually, well, at least you'd high five me as he falls down rather than stabbing me in the gut.
Yeah, but I have MS, so you don't have to worry about that.
You'd probably miss.
I'll miss completely.
All right, guys, that's enough for episode 174 of the Trinity Force podcast.
I could regurgitate a Kog'maw pun.
Oh, God.
We'll see you all next week.
I hate
See ya.
Bye.